How is cloud native application architecture, or CNA, different from traditional architecture styles?
Yeah, because traditional architecture styles were more layered and centralized. With the things that added to the cloud native architecture, it's becoming more decentralized and going out of this traditional layered architecture. That's the key reason that I see as a differentiator.
And how do the characteristics of CNA fit into agility and full stack developing?
Yeah, so because cloud native architecture adding some fundamental stuff that we see with the full stack developer. So full stack developer, there are many definitions, but for me, I think it's an architect, a developer, and a DevOps person. So this decentralization, as well as adding more responsibility for the developer to plan, develop, as well as run and manage these applications. So the main features in the cloud native architecture nicely fit into the role of the full stack developer, as well as the agility required more flexibility, as well as less governance, I would say. So the cloud native architecture principles are clearly supporting agility and improving agility of the developer and making their productivity as a developer who can quickly plan, build, and release their applications.
And what challenges do you see enterprises facing when they adopt CNA?
Yeah, so the main problem is we purchased a lot of software during last 2 decades, and I believe the raw data set as well as raw functionality of enterprise is still exist in those applications. So how you build a new architecture by consuming those data and services is the main challenge that the enterprises are facing, as well as there's a cultural shift. So how they can adopt this cultural shift by utilizing the existing workforce and move with the change is the main challenge most of the enterprises are facing from the technology side, process, as well as people perspective.
And how is WSO2 contributing to CNA?
Yeah, so we contribute in many ways, but I would say mainly 5 areas that we have done. So the first, we introduced this cloud native programming language called Ballerina. How you can write microservices, integration microservices, and then build end-to-end cloud native application platform is the first way we contributed. The second thing, we started this project called Celery. It's a way how you deploy cloud native applications into Kubernetes and other cloud native infrastructures. So that's a second level. And then we introduced something called cell-based architecture, a completely cloud native architecture pattern that you can architect these applications. And there's a reference methodology that explain how you can improve the existing processes and fit into the cloud native applications. Then last but not least, we are improving the existing runtimes. As example, we have a lot of integration related products like enterprise service bus, API management platform, identity component. So we are making them very lightweight and then high performance, stateless, and how you can fit into a cloud native infrastructure and deploy it in those runtimes. So that way, the enterprises who's using these products can move into a cloud native architecture without much changes in a shorter time period. So that's how as a technology provider we are supporting cloud native application architecture.
And do you have any predictions on what will happen next in the future?
Yeah, so I believe the middleware, basically we use middleware for I think 2 decades now. So middleware is moving away with the cloud native architecture into 2 sides. One, basically it's moving to code, and then it's moving to infrastructure. So you can't add middleware like we used to do. So you need to find a language that support middleware. So that's where Ballerina coming into the picture. And then the middleware move into the infrastructure. Basically Kubernetes is kind of justifying it, as well as we as a technology provider, we are taking to the next level with Celery, that you can have most of the middleware capabilities that we used to use inside the infrastructure with Celery. So those are 2 things that I predict and where the cloud native architecture will take the industry in the near future.
Thanks so much for your insights today.
Thanks, Kathleen, for your time too.